when people reach out to you to work with you, are they saying, "Hey, I'm repeating the same pattern in dating," or "Hey, I'm just like having a hard time meeting people and I want to be in a relationship and I feel like I can't make it happen." Well, like what is it? What are some of the things that they're specifically saying that they're coming to you for?
It's mainly the second one. Mainly people will come to me and be like, "I want my husband," or "I
Yeah.
don't know where to go to meet people." And then that's when I take them down the deeper road of, well, what is your mindset? What are your patterns? How are you behaving? How are you showing up? What wounds have you maybe not healed? I do every now and then have that really aware person who comes to me and says, I'm repeating a pattern. I need help stopping it. And I'm like, fantastic. You are already 3 weeks ahead of where normally people start. So I have a couple who will come to me knowing that something needs to give, but most of the time people come to me with the intention of just trying to find somebody and not knowing how. And then we take a step back and we see the underlying layers.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old and single, and I feel like I've stepped back multiple times to see if there's a pattern in the way I'm dating, but there's no pattern. It is just the lack of finding people to connect with,
Yes.
or going on dating apps and it not leading anywhere, or just going on a lot of first dates and just not feeling anything. Um,
Right.
and oddly enough, I would say a lot of my friends that I'm chatting with right now, whether they're in their 30s or early 40s, it just seems to be, like, lack of dates, and then when they show up on dates or when either of us show up on dates, there's just it's like everyone's just going through the motion, and we're not able to, like, feel anything. Have you heard that at all?
I see it a ton because I think the landscape that's been created with dating apps, with social media, is created kind of this like, well, there's the illusion of choice, first of all, where you think you can just keep going on dates and like you can just treat people kind of like that. It's just like, okay, I did that, checked it off the box, on to the next. And you're not as intentional with it. I see that a lot. I think there's been like this whole like shift that's been created because the way our world has turned going so digital and learning to unwrite those narratives and learning how to date in a different way is so important because otherwise it's so life draining. It takes up so much energy. So it's approaching it differently and making sure that the person that you're choosing to go on the date with seems to have that same approach too. I
Yeah.
recently started working I met a matchmaker and he's been sharing like his whole process with me and how he pairs people together. And it's so much more intentional. It's based on their shared values, their communication styles, their attachment styles. And that's when you can actually see, a date go from, oh, it's just a first date, let's get it over with, to, wow, this could actually be something substantial. So it's just a different approach.
Yeah, and I notice because I have friends at all different, I would say,
Mhm.
consciousness levels, right?
Sure.
So I have friends that understand what I mean when I say high vibration food and frequency and kundalini yoga and sound vibration. Like there are people that get that. They understand the transformation of hands-on healing during work on past lives, during work on childhood trauma. Like there are people that get that and there are people that aren't there yet who are still my friends. And I find it's those people that don't get that that are like, Whitney, it's just a numbers game. You just have to go on more dates. You just have to meet more people. And that doesn't feel right to me. I don't have my body can't share that much energy. I can't pick up all those other people's stuff, right?
Absolutely
Because
not.
with every interaction, I don't care how good you are at shielding yourself energetically. I don't care how many like salt baths you take, sage you burn. Like we feel other people's frequency, vibration, their good stuff, their bad stuff when you're like very empathic. And so I can't do the numbers game thing. I have to be more deliberate and conscious and mindful. What's the advice that you give to your clients that are in that position?
I will say for people who are on this consciousness journey, right? It does limit the pool of dating. And that's not a bad thing. It just is you are on a different wave and a different journey than so many people. So it's again being aware of, okay, is this person, do they seem to be on the same wave? Can I ask them a few questions before we go on the date to even see if we're aligned in that? And they can be really chill questions, like how do you normally spend your Sunday afternoon? Maybe they'll bring up meditation. Maybe they'll give some sort of clue that just gives you a kind of in to know, okay, there's like this little precursor to this could be something worth my time and my energy because it is so, so valuable.